All right, welcome back. Sorry, because we knew this was going to take more than an hour, and unfortunately, with my PlayStation Share Factor capabilities, we can only do an hour videos. So we just kind of figured break this up. Um, but yeah, so we are going to continue on with the questions. Thank you everyone who submitted questions, and if anyone does pop a question in the chat, we will answer it as soon as we can, towards the end, whenever you kind of get it in there. We were just talking about Battle Royale. We're going to go
Hmm.
to the next question, question 8, and it's from Taj. And Taj asks, which game story experience had the most impact to the point it became a benchmark for other similar game experiences? I'm
Wow.
going to have you start out. What is your answer to Taj there?
I thought about this a lot. Thought about it a lot, a lot. And where I land on this is, basically the entire Yakuza series. I think I played all the Yakuza games strictly because the story was so phenomenal. And it's not like, what's a story in video games, right? It drives you to complete the video game. But Yakuza is a very cinematic experience. It's got plot twists, it's got turns. It's like ranks right up there with some of the better movies I've seen. And it made me want to keep, going from Yakuza 1, 2, 3, etc., and so forth, all the way to the end of the main character story, Yakuza 6, because it was that entertaining and intriguing. Closely right behind, right up there, as well as Mass Effect, in particular Mass Effect 2. I think that just took it to another level as far as like what an RPG story could be like in a more modern sense. I'd usually been exposed to JRPGs in my previous history, but Mass Effect was like, again, it's that cinematic experience, which I think you'll probably agree with me, Chad. It's like, when you have a cinematic story, and again, I've said that I have not completed Last of Us, but when you have that cinematic story experience, that's kind of what you tend to chase after. I really liked Horizon's story too. I haven't played the new one, but again, there's an overarching story. It's done in cutscenes that are cinematic. That's what I really look for. But again, Yakuza, Mass Effect, those are some of my best ones.
So, before I get into this, I thought long and hard, you know, of picking one. And like you, because I was thinking like first Final Fantasy. I'm like, but a
Hmm.
lot of them, we talked about Final Fantasy 7. Eight's my
Yeah.
favorite. I remember playing Uncharted series, the first one, the weird
Hmm.
twist in the middle, like it was cinematic. I loved it. I love storytelling. So before I get to my pick, I'm gonna tell a real life story. A
Oh.
story that you might actually not know everything about. And I'm going to get
Oh.
as personal. You might know a little bit because this happened before we became friends. And you're going to
Ah.
understand that, we kind of made fun of this game a little bit, but I want to tell the story before I know. Once you kind of realize my story, you're going
Hmm.
to realize what the game is.
Mm.
Um, so,
Okay. I'm
what some people
excited.
might not know is I have a daughter. She's going to be 20 in May.
Oh my God.
Um,
Thank you for making me
so,
feel old.
how do you think I feel?
Thank you so
Um,
much for that present.
so,
20.
this story starts back you know, when she was kind of, I think, in like pre-K kindergarten, so whatever that age might be, 5, 6, I don't know. So I'm going to guess that. Um, Me, her, and her mom were at a mall. We were spending the day at the mall. We didn't have to work. We took, my daughter there.
Hmm.
And, the two of them were looking at earrings and stuff. And obviously I was like, I don't, I'm a guy. I'm like, I don't mind hanging around. I'm like, I'm going to look at that store across the street, across the little way, blah, blah, blah. And I, kind of looked back, was looking, at like the technology shits and, the chair that vibrates. And then I come back to the store and I see her mom. I do not see my daughter. I said, hey, where is she? And then she's like, she's with you. And I said, no, she's not.
Oh
Now you're going
no.
to hear both sides of the story. I'm going to tell my point and then I'm going to tell what happened. Um, I was frantic. We both were frantic. Do not get me wrong. And for those who are parents, just even when you lose your child for a few minutes, we searched the store. We had no clue where she
Oh
was
my
at.
God.
Um, I don't know if this was, I feel like this was only 5 minutes. It's going to, 15, time stands still. So anyhow, I told her mom, like, just stay here in case she comes back. I kind of looked, stepped out of the store, then this was at actually the Pheasant Lane Mall, to give you a little context. No one else
Yeah.
is really going to know
Yep.
it. And I look left, look right. I know I don't see this little girl, this little blonde hair. And
Oh
I'm like,
God.
fuck. And obviously, the worst case scenarios, go through your mind. Like, you don't want it to, but it does. And you're like, all right, what do I do first? Where do I go? I took a left and, just kind of looking around. And across like the lunch court, I see her. And if you ever see a 5 or 6 year old run as fast as they can, it's cute and lovable. I scooped her up. I was crying. She was crying. And blah, blah, blah. What had happened was I lost my, yeah. So basically for those 5-10 minutes, I had no clue where my daughter was. And I was panicked.
Oh my God.
And, so what had happened was, now I'm going to go back, is after I left, my daughter was bored looking at, she was like, hey, can I, she was asking her mom, can I hang out, be with dad? And she's like, do you see me? Like, yeah, he's right out there. She pointed to someone different else. So I was, after all this, I was pissed at her mother for not checking this, but I'm not going to get into that. So she went and she didn't see me, and she's like, she knew we were going to do lunch. So that's why she went to the food court. She even said she got to a point where she was going to ask like a security officer, where I was. But that's, so that's kind of what happened. But so for me, having that experience, having, that fight, even if you lose some your child, it's, your world is just gone and you don't get it. So to me, we've talked about this, video games putting you in place of a main character. And that brings me to Heavy Rain.
I do it.
And I wasn't like, Sean. But obviously that was the worst case scenario, and I don't want to make light of it because I know, like I said, I was lucky, and I know I was lucky. But in a way, I could put myself in Ethan's character. I'm like, I'm a dad. I'm going to do whatever I can to save my, in the game, the son. But the storytelling to me is also what grabbed me. And so for future games like that, when you look at Detroit Become Human, Until Dawn, just the how different, it's not just, it's choose your own adventure style. Your characters may live, may die. But I was invested in that game because I'm like, I'm cutting my finger off. I don't fucking care. I'm getting my kid back, because I had that. I know what it's like. And again, it might have only been a few minutes, but not to know where your child is, scared the living shit out of me. And, like I said, I know not everyone gets to have that happy ending, and I'm not trying to make light of it. I am happy that everything is okay, obviously. But at that time, like I said, those few minutes, my mind was like, did someone pick her up? Did someone take, like I didn't know what my next step was. Like I was about, like, I got to ask security, like my eyes were looking everywhere, you're searching. So, but yeah, so Heavy Rain to me set up those I love those kind of games. I love Detroit Become Human. I like the choose your own adventure, the play styles, the multiple, like what can I do for this character? How can I make this character different? Plus, in a weird way, unfortunately, in a sick way, it put me in the main character because, like I said, he lost, his, son died in the first one, but then his son gets kidnapped, and so I've been there. Again, but not to that extent, but I know what that feeling's like for those few minutes. So, to me, Heavy Rain is the honest single answer because I look at the way they use different endings for different characters, and I love that because I'm like, not every game, let me create the story. Like this is how I'm playing the characters. And I know you have, when so many choices, you just want the good ending. I'm like, sometimes just play it first, just the way you are, and then afterwards, go back and maybe check out different endings. But to me, I love that
makes
kind
me
of
want to
story.
go back and play fucking Detroit Become Human. It's like, and I didn't have any fucking. I didn't have the emotional reaction to Heavy Rain like you did, but I can easily picture that would be like, that probably brought you right back to those feelings.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, because I knew a little of the game when it came out. I knew, again, for PS3, how cinematic it was. They were, at that time, how lifelike the faces were. I knew all about that, but I didn't know much about the story. And I was like, wow. And again, it grabbed me because, they had 4 different characters, each different things. But, you could make a mistake and one will die. And the story is going to go on. It's not like, oh, you die, let's go back to the last checkpoint. Or, hey, game over, bitch. You're going to go all the way back to the beginning and you're doing this whole fucking dungeon. No, your story goes on if you lose a character. And I'm like, that is cool. I know it's frustrating to some because you're like, I want everyone. I'm like, but that's why I'm like, to me, I'm like, I always, and this is the way I play pretty much every game. I play a game. I don't look at trophies. I don't look at anything. I play for the experience first, and then I go back. Like, do I want to go back and do some of these? If it's like when I played Final Fantasy VIII again for like the 3rd or 4th time, I'm like, all right, let me platinum this. So that, so I look that. I mean, I've beaten that, so I wasn't too worried about that. I'm like, is there anything I can miss? What do I need to do? But for a
Right.
first time experience, I like to go in as blind as I can. I don't want, I just want to enjoy it. And to me, Heavy Rain was a great experience. I think, the future games that they've done, was phenomenal. And like I said, if you get a chance, like I said, go back to Detroit Become Human. Yeah, your character might die. I don't know. There's so many multiple endings, but to me, Heavy Rain started that whole choose your own adventure really, and it put me in a spot where I felt like, and it's rare for a game to make you feel like a main character. You always want that. You want to feel like you're in a game, not like first person killing zombies or molded people or this and that. I had a reason to feel like the main character, and I think that's why all that really hit me. And so to me,
Wow.
Heavy Rain definitely
Wow.
would be the one.
Do you feel
Yeah,
like how do you feel about them doing I believe they're doing a Star Wars game, right?
I don't know yet. I've not heard that. I have
Yeah.
not heard about it yet. I know Jedi Fallen Order 2 was the last Star Wars new game that they've been talking about. But if they do a Star Wars game like that, I'm in. It's Star Wars, choose your own adventure characters. I'm in. I'm pretty much in on anything Star Wars anyway, so it
Yeah,
doesn't
says
take
I
long. But
yeah, I think it's called Star Wars Eclipse, and it's being made by Quantic Dream. Obviously, no release date on that, but I think that that will combine two things that you like, choice and Jedi's, which I think that also, not to get on a Star Wars tangent, but they're remaking another Star Wars game too. That's an RPG from back in the day on Xbox, so that should be quite interesting. But yeah, you win the emotional response for that one. I did not. I think the most emotional response I had from Heavy Rain was when I believe the female character, her name, I want to say it's like Madison or something.
that sounds right,
Um,
but I can't confirm
I
that
don't
one way or
know, but
another.
she has like a intruder in the house, and you have to like fight this intruder off. And I think that that's when I felt the most emotional response from Heavy Rain. But I agree. I do like those things to extent, but again, they're cinematic, and I think that I just have to get over the whole like paralyzing choice thing, and I think I'll probably try something like that out. But yeah, I think I tried to get into Detroit Become Human. I died in the first immediate thing, and then I was like, "Fuck this!" I don't know why, because I die in Elden Ring like all the
Again,
time, and I'm like, no big deal. It's just death.
well, you know what? If you have a save point, just restart the save point. Yeah, no, there's a part where I lost one of my characters because I kept thinking I was doing the right thing, and I should have just
Yeah.
ran away. I crossed the point where I was like, I'm a good guy. I'm standing my ground, and I'm like, oh, my guy's dead. But yeah, that was, in a way, the playthrough that I was going for. And then so
Hmm.
afterwards, I kind of looked at like, okay, let's try all these different styles. The good, the bad, and I think I platinum that game. So, all right, question
Yeah.
9 is from Melly Playful. Um,
Mm.
I I personally don't know how I'm going to answer this, so I might give you the floor first. But she pretty simplistic. I want to know which animal best represents yourselves. So, Soto,
Yeah.
what do you think? What would you say is your animal representation?
Well, this one's pretty easy. It's all over my apartment. It's in my bed sheets. It's in my mugs. So this is me and my wife are both kind of like house-like animal, but without a doubt, it is the peacock. It's what we have. We've always had peacock stuff around. It's kind of how when I had my the corporate job I'm working at for the last 10 years. When I first started working there and I started wearing clothes to the office, my wife would always say, wear bright and colorful colors. Let your peacock, shine. It's like that movie with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, the other guys, where it's like, I'm a peacock. You gotta let me fly. Um, that's kind of been our house words and everything. So, and our house symbol is peacock. So I say peacock. They're out there. They're flamboyant. They're colorful, loud. They're very annoying when they're loud and boisterous. I think that describes me pretty good. I don't know for anybody who's ever heard a peacock make it sound. It's pretty noticeable and pretty crazy. But again, that's mine. I would have said rooster, but there's already somebody that has that branding in their name, so wasn't going to go for that. I was born in the year rooster. Roosters have been always my thing, but yeah, peacock without a doubt.
Yeah, see, I'm with you, and I think I'm the year of the horse, which, if I remember correctly, or the year of the rat. I don't even remember. I don't know. I was thinking about this for a while, and I'm like,
Long
this to
while.
me, well, to a point, it's like, okay, because I'm like, well, I'm a dog person. I feel like I'm loyal to, the people, but I'm like, God, I'm not, I hate to say dogs are stupid, but, you throw a red ball and they go.
They do.
And
Shiny
I
red
love
ball.
dogs. So I was trying to think of something that I don't even know if this is going to be right. I don't know wrong. It's not, I was just trying to me, I was just trying to pick an answer. So this might not even be the best answer, but I'm like, I was looking at wolves and I'm like, you know what? Wolves are assholes. But they surround themselves with, people that they trust and, stuff like that. The wolf pack's not too big. I don't have like thousands and thousands of friends. It's not like high
Right.
school, pretty much work friends. I hated a lot of people in high school. I think, most of my friends from there
Yeah.
were just from work. So it's like, I know for me personally, it's like I don't let a lot of people in easily. But once you know me, and once you get to know
Mm-hmm.
me and you have my trust, I am there 100%. That I know that about me. But I'm like right away. It always takes a little bit. So
You're very
I don't know.
standoffish.
I
First
was
time I
trying
met
to.
you. First time I
Yeah,
met you. Very standoffish. Very like to yourself. And I think I joked to
more than
you where it's
that
like,
to myself. Well, mind you,
yeah.
I'm also in this new. I think when we first met, I was at a new store. You know,
Yes.
um, so I knew no one outside of one person. I think
Mm-hmm.
your manager was throwing a Christmas party at that time. I thought it was delayed, so he invited me, and I'm like, I felt out of
Yes.
place. I'm like, I shouldn't be here.
Yes.
I've not been here the last year. Like I knew
Mm-hmm.
one person that I worked with twice, and she was kind of like my safe zone a little bit. But it's not like there was too much. I'm like, I don't know these people at all, pretty much. So that day was kind of it took a little bit. I was like,
It
I
was
honestly
weird.
felt like I should not have been there, and but whatever. He invited me. I'm like, no, that's fine,
Yeah.
because I'm a new member of the team. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And I get all that, but at the same time, I'm like,
Oh my
this is a
God,
Christmas
so
party from
long
like
ago.
last year. Life is so long ago. I mean, think about it, man. That 12, 13, 14. I don't again, however many years.
That was
Um,
so long
but I know I'm
ago. Oh my
standoffish,
God.
and I know that's the way I am, and a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard because, like I said, in high school I was that way. I think around, once I knew people, I'm very talkative. I can get going, but at first I'm like, I don't fucking know you. I ain't saying shit to you right now. Uh,
Yeah. Put
but
some alcohol in you though, and all of a
well, I
sudden,
think you do that with any people. You start drinking, you're like, all right, let's go. I think there's a time,
that was
like
it.
I was very outgoing. I can get, but I remember my early 20s. I can get along with any crowd. There I was fine. I don't know
Yeah.
what. I think that might have been my only time where it's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, fuck it. But now it's just like, I don't know how my wife puts up with me. Most of the time because sometimes I'm just there. No, I'm good. I think that might be a guy thing too. You don't get into it, but once I get talking,
Right.
I get going. But I was trying to find an animal. Like, what's an animal that's an asshole that doesn't hang around with a lot of animals? Like, I'm like, fuck it, it's gonna be a wolf. I don't even know if that's the right answer. Wolves could, probably travel in 100 pack. I don't know. I just know like wolf packs tend to be smaller. So I was like, yeah, the friends I've had for a long period of time. I've had, we 15, 16. My friend, Brian, which has been a brother to me. We've
Yeah.
known each other since I was
Yeah.
9. So what, 35
Holy
years?
shit.
I had two friends from Minnesota from work. I've known, obviously
Yeah.
we outside of Facebook, but we used to hang out all the time, and I've known them for like 20. So all my great friendships, obviously, the years are in it. Um, but yeah, so Mel, the best answer I got is a wolf. I don't know if that is the right answer because I don't know how wolves are. I was just trying to find one that's kind of standoffish asshole, but loyal to the what's in his pack, what he allows in his pack. He's like, I know they got my back, I got their back.
Dude.
Call me anytime in the middle of the night. I'm there, no matter how fucking tired I
Oh,
am.
Jesus. But you know what it sounds like? And don't take offense to this. It
That's
sounds
fine.
like a fucking cat, dude. That's how cats are. Like,
I
it's
don't know.
like, it's
I,
like,
don't, I
oh,
think
like,
cats hate
don't
other
fuck with
cats.
me.
It could, what? It could be. And I was trying to, I thought about it, but I'm just like, I don't think I'm that much standoffish. Like, I'm gonna knock this glass off the table because fuck you. I mean, maybe if I'm drinking, I'm like, fuck you,
No.
whatever. But
You're not vindictive. No, no. Like, some cats are vindictive assholes. But, maybe it's not a cat, but definitely, like,
no, I
cat
can
is.
understand.
The reason I like them so much is because they're just like, get the fuck away from me. But when you get to know them, it's like they, will cuddle with you. It's great. Not saying that you and I cuddle, but
I would be Big
it's one
Spoon.
of
I
those
think I
things.
got
Yeah.
like I'm a little bit taller than you, so I'm Big Spoon if that happens.
Such is my lot in life. Yes, I will go. I will revert back to Little Spoon. It's been a long time since I was Little Spoon. My last relationship, i.e. But yeah, no. I mean, I have no choice. There's no. Just logistically speaking, I have to be Little Spoon.
Yep, yep. All right. Question 10. I'm going to put more to you, but I'm going to answer it in a different way. But it was directed to you. So Tengu asked both of
Ooh,
us kind of a separate question, but I am going to throw in an answer just
ooh,
for me afterwards.
ooh.
Soto, do you prefer grenades or dynamite? What
Oh
is your
God,
explosion choice?
easy answer. It's grenades. They're chaotic. I throw them everywhere. Dynamite, like I have to light it and run away or throw it. I've never look in any gaming capacity. Dynamite has always confused me, or I've ended up dropping it on myself, or something terrible has happened with dynamite. This goes back to Red Dead Redemption 2, etc. So grenades, I can throw them. I can lob them. I think in Strange Brigade. I've really taken into the whole grenade throwing. That's because Mel has really shown me the way there. So long answer, short. It's definitely fucking grenades.
I agree with you. I know a lot of games we play, we see, and this happened. It made me think of a Dying Light last night. Just all the fucking red barrels we were seeing, and just like explode, shooting them right away. Like, oh, we
We
gotta
threw a
kill you.
Molotov cocktail like at our own feet. Like we
All
were
right, no,
in
no,
a
no, 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 no,
room
no. It hit the ceiling up above. There is a little risk, so I did hit up above. I just did not go the direction that I
and
want.
rained fire
It
on
did
all of
rain
us.
fire on us, but I am with you with grenades. A lot easier. Dynamite, and I go a little bit back to Call of Duty because I hate
Mm,
C4 in that game because like you gotta make sure it's placed correct. You have to hit R1. You have to trigger it. I just want to throw my grenade or Molotov. Molotov is
yeah,
probably more my answer if I had to pick an explosion.
it's
You fire,
chaos.
but anything where you have to wait a second or something like that, I'm not in for. It's just like,
No,
uh,
I
but
want
yeah,
instant gratification of explosions.
we want to
That's what I
see
want.
everything explode.
Yeah,
Um,
it gives me great joy. It's a dopamine hit like no other.
we need to feel the explosion and the rage.
Last night, I was just shooting red barrels just to watch the world burn. I think that you and I could probably agree that's a favorite pastime. It's fantastic.
I know when you can blow anything up.
Mm-hmm.
So next question, Tengu kind of asked me, who's your favorite rooster?
Oh,
So
Jesus
I'm going to
Christ.
kind of explain this to anyone who doesn't know. I have a friend. Hey, Mattis. Yes, Mattis Molotov cocktails is better. Um, I have a friend Marty. Known him now for we've been doing YouTube and friends for 4 or 5 years. Marty Rooster, and
You
it's
guys are
always a
friends?
fun.
Wow.
I hate to say love hate relationship, but you give your friends
More
shit
on
and
the
stuff like
hate.
that. But but it's done in a fun way. So anyhow, how we met, and I go back to when YouTube. I created a YouTube channel just to put up clips. Like I just wanted to put up stupid clips, and I met some people, kind of like a group that like help support each other. Like, hey, do this with your video, and it was kind of cool. Marty's really the only one from that group where like we've kept in touch, but we always have been doing that. But there was someone else in that group at one time, and he said it, and I've always agreed with this. Even though we don't talk anymore, like I don't have to have met you, or I don't have to have shaken your hand to consider you a friend. Like you can
Mm.
have friends who you're never going to meet because there's a lot of friends that we game with that 99% sure we're never going to meet just because either they're overseas, it's not like we travel, blah blah blah, and that's okay. And so yeah, Marty and I have known each other for 4 or 5
Madness, I'm
years,
gonna
but
find you. If I'm ever in your neighborhood, Madness, I'm gonna
we
find your
will,
ass.
yeah, we will. We'll bring the Molotovs, we'll bring the explosions, stuff like that. Um, but
I
yeah,
don't want to
so
get arrested. Are you crazy?
no, we're
Hey,
doing the
Madness, nice to
madness
meet you. Here's a
style. We don't.
Molotov cocktail. Like,
It's the
just throw
shit.
this at your house. That's how I ring the doorbell. Throw a Molotov cocktail at your front door. Hey, it's us.
It's what we do. But yeah, so to me, like I said, yes, I mean, Soto and I known each other 15, 16 years, but I do believe that you can have strong friendships with people you haven't met, that you haven't shaken your hand, that you probably won't meet because,
Sure.
there's get along. So, Tangu, to answer your question, who is my favorite rooster? Without a doubt, it's Foghorn Leghorn because Looney Tunes is funny as shit, and I have to go with that as the best rooster ever, guys. That guy always made me laugh. I
Thank
love
God you've
Foghorn
seen
Leghorn.
Looney Tunes. I thought you were gonna be like, I've never seen Looney Tunes, just like you've never seen the fucking Simpsons. Like it's like Looney
I've never
Tunes,
seen
no
a full
idea.
episode of The Simpsons. Let's get this straight. Like I said, I've seen the clips, I've seen this, but I've never sat down to watch a fucking episode of The Simpsons.
It's
I'm sorry.
wild, wild.
And I'm not going to start now because it's like, whatever. People can shit on me all they want about it. That's okay.
Well, you jumped into South Park, and you've seen plenty of South Park, and from what I understand, to get on a tangent really quick, is that the Stick of Truth is actually better than the one I played, the first one.
They're both good. I would say they're equal. It's just a different style. Because wait, Stick of Truth was they were weren't they? Yeah, more wizards,
Well,
and it was
Fractured But Whole was the one I played,
correct.
where I played a child of color.
Yes.
So that I could feel represented in there. And then I remember pooping in people's toilets.
Yeah,
But
you can
then
do
I'm
that in both
told that
games.
the first one is way more inappropriate and way
Yep.
over the top.
Yeah, yeah. They both. God, it's been so long since I played. I know. I just know I enjoyed them both. Yes, at South Park, they're both inappropriate. I've heard rumors that they're working on a third game. I
Oh,
hope this is true. I love this. It's done well. It's easy enough to learn. A little bit of strategy and stuff like that, but the sick sense of humor. If you like South Park, you'll love these games. Same reason we loved. Me and my wife saw Book of Mormon on our honeymoon. Oh, that was the funniest musical we've ever seen in our lives.
oh, I gotta
Um,
see that. Yeah, I
oh
gotta check that out.
yeah, we were gonna after we got married, we were thinking about where to go, and it was playing in New York, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this shit is expensive. Like
I
you
bet.
want to have the experience. I'm like, at that time, it's not like not that we have a lot of money now. I'm just saying we were more, not as well off as we were when we first met, and
Hmm.
but then we saw Philly. They were going to Philly afterwards, and I'm like, this is like less than half the price to go to the show, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I would like to see Philly. So we talked to her, like, yeah, but so we booked Book of Mormon before we even booked hotel. We obviously drove there, but if you get a chance to see Book of Mormon, I died laughing. We saw that, and we were seeing like 60 and 70-year-old people in there, and I was like, oh my god, do they know what they're watching? You don't. You think it's like you think how far they can go, and then they go
Hmm.
further. Like I'm like, okay, this is gonna. It's a musical. They're gonna tame. They're not gonna be themselves. I'm like, oh shit, they really went there. I don't know how much you know, but if you and your wife, if you get a chance, I guarantee you, nonstop laughing. Book of Mormon was fucking amazing. I died
That, that's
laughing.
that's how they started with Cannibal the musical. I know you haven't checked that out. It's a
Yeah.
weird like reference, but Cannibal the musical. Although it's not to the level of probably Book of Mormon, I'm sure that's got even more like next level stuff. But they started off like doing musicals. I think that I want to say that one of them is was like a dual major in like Japanese and like music.
Oh, I don't know.
And
I believe you, but I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah, so that's why you see a lot of their stuff is like very based on that, and again, fucking genius. I think it's Trey Parker, a fucking
That
absolute
makes sense.
genius when it comes
Yeah.
to shit like that. But and of course, yeah. So definitely, I'll check it out. I'm not really big into musicals, the idea of them, like,
You'll love
but
this. It's so
yeah,
different. It's hilarious.
like I've
Um,
never been interested in watching Hamilton. You know what I mean? Like, I've never been like, oh, let's go watch Hamilton. Like, that's just not my That's not my vibe. Sorry to
no, I get
anybody who
that.
likes that. I'm boring. I don't like going outside. House cat,
So
that's my animal now.
we're house cats. Fuck everything.
Yeah. Hell
Um,
yeah.
Next question comes from the Essential Gamer Lee,
Ah, Lee.
and he asks, "What's a real-world activity you enjoy and would like to see made into a game?" He gives the example of axe throwing, which before
Mm-hmm.
you give your
Very
answer, I'm going to say this:
violent.
there is an axe throwing. I see an arcade game. I don't know where it's at, stuff like that. I don't know, but they have made an arcade version of it. I'm assuming kind of like the electronic darts or something. It's not obviously
Mm-hmm.
real axing. Um,
Yeah.
so there is at least an arcade version out there for you, Lee. But Soto, I know this is a little bit different of a question, but what real life activity do you think you would like to see made into a game?
Yeah, when I first saw this question, I was like, how is smoking weed and drinking beer like amenable to a video game? And then I was like, okay, like how does just hanging out outside enjoying a bright sunny day while smoking weed and beer going to be a video game? And so the next logical step to me was like, okay, I guess maybe cornhole, which I don't know if that translates to UK or if you guys have anything similar to that, but cornhole is a pretty popular game up here in New England. And I guess I'd probably like to see like maybe like a post-apocalyptic video game where, or RPG where the only way you can move forward is maybe by playing cornhole, or you have to manage how drunk you are while playing cornhole. I'd play a game like that. I don't know if I'd pay $20 for it. I'd pay maybe 10. or $9.89 for it.
$9.99. Screw the 10.
Yeah. No, I'm going to keep that dime, but $9.89 maybe for it. But again, my real world activities are very boring, and if there's already games for bowling, which I love doing, um, and there's games for sounds like a sex position, cornhole.
No, Madness, it's not. Look it up on YouTube. It's you basically throw a beanbag into like a board that's think of it like you're the
That
distance
sounds
of a
sexual
horseshoe,
too.
but
That's a throw a beanbag.
fucking sex games. You just got
Throw
on
a
Pornhub.
beanbag into a hole, from a large enough
Get the
distance.
bag in the hole.
Yeah, which I think is called dog in a bathtub, but that's a conversation for another time, Madness. I don't know if we're old enough to have that conversation, but yeah, basically you're throwing a beanbag into a hole at a distance, and you've got to get it into the hole or close to it. There's a whole thing for it, but it's all about the cornhole board. You can customize it and everything like that.
Wow.
So again, I'd make it to be like, in the future, maybe the only thing that future civilization has of our past civilization was a cornhole game, and so they think it's like some religious text, and then it becomes, the crux of their new society or something like that. So, yeah, is it as cool as Chad's, like, 100 people on an island being hunted down by 4?
Well, that's not a real life game though. That's something you can do in real life. I mean, so
No, but if we're talking about gaming, like, gaming pitches like you had, not as good. But yeah, I'd play that game. Fuck it. $9.89. You got me sold right there.
So again, I was trying to think of like a real life activity that I've enjoyed sometime in my life that realistically could kind of be made into a game. Like I was again not trying to cop out on this, and I did not cop out on this answer like some of the past questions. And I was like, okay, what's something that I've done that I haven't seen? And then I started thinking my childhood, and then I started thinking like kickball. Like we've seen baseball, we've seen this and that, but I've seen. Yeah. And then I looked this up. I'm like, I was curious. There is like a karate kickball, but it's not like a kickball field. You have I don't know. It's not the same thing.
Karate
and I'm just like,
kickball.
I think that's or kung fu kickball. I could be wrong, but it's more of a platform. But I'm like, wow. Then I started thinking, what about like recess games? Like all right, so you got the kickball, which is the the big thing because that could be done. We've seen baseball games and stuff like that. Then I think of other things like wiffle ball, tetherball.
Yeah.
So I was like,
the shit at tetherball. Don't fuck with me on that.
But see, then I'm like, how do you make this in the game? Well, you're the new kid at school. You have to beat, work your way up, be the popular kid, or otherwise you get picked on. Put in a kind of like bully. And yeah, so
like Squid Game. Sounds like this is gonna
without
go to Squid
what
Game.
happens at the end, yes. But that I was like, what? I was like, just imagine. But then you know what? You could, screw the recess games, go kickball, but you can have the beer. Each time you get to like first base, you have to drink a beer. So as you're running to second base, you might be a little, your screen gets a little bit more doozy. And you're like, oh shit, where's the base?
God.
I don't. But to me, I'm like, what's a game? And I loved kickball as a kid. Like you tetherball.
Yeah, me too.
And
shit.
from like Foursquare, a lot of those recess games, I'm like, this is a market like Nintendo could easily just get into, just throw it together, a package of these games, and I think it would be fun, like if it's well done to me, because again, if you're the pitcher of kickball, you can do the curve, you can do the bounce. I think there's a lot you can do to that game. So
like flashlight tag the game, like just a bunch of people, multiplayer battle royale style, but just with flashlights in the dark.
I saw you. You did it, teammate. I got you.
I saw you, motherfuckers, with my flashlight. Then it's like you can do microtransactions to get flashlights that go longer and stuff like that. Customize your flashlight and shit. So
much more. Trampoline basketball. Man, that could be also interesting. I mean, I don't think I could real world do that.
I don't know.
But as a game,
life,
imagine those dunks. That'd be like NBA Jam style right there, just like going up to the roof.
That sounds fun. I'd play that video game. I don't know if Mattis, I mean, you must do that in real life. That's a cool, like, real life activity. I don't do shit like that. I am a cannabis enthusiast and an IPA drinker, and that is about as far as it gets. And boy, do I like to sit down and just listen to the birds.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Old man Jenkins over here.
Old man Jenkins.
Mm-hmm.
So our final question from Twitter, also
shit.
a second one from Lee, the Essential Gamer. And I guess we both can kind of answer this in our own ways, but I'm going to read this word for word because
Yeah.
I mean we can't really do anything about the last part, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to. But is there anything you two get competitive about? High scores, most trophies, biggest penis, etc. Um, so yeah, honestly, it might. I don't think.
Biggest penis.
I think the part, the fact that I think about my friends and going back to when I was in school. I think,
Yeah.
because I played a lot of sports. Like I was very, even
Mm-hmm.
with Brian, we were always competitive. But I think me and
Mm-hmm.
you, even we don't really play like sports competitive. Like we're competitive together, but not
Yeah.
against each other. I think the worst, and I say worst in quotations because we're neither bad. Like when we play golf, like
Yeah.
we can't control what the other person's doing. We both don't want to lose, but
Yeah.
we blame. You know what I mean? We blame ourselves. With a bad shot or something like that, or when I do a fucking shot and make it, you're like, what the fuck? Or I miss
Yeah.
a stupid
What the
putt.
fuck was that all about? Fucking all these. Yeah. No, you're bringing back negative feelings.
But I think
All your
that
Eagles.
in my opinion, that I can think of, like I said, I think because gaming, we, most of the time we play co-op gaming. We don't really have. I think we played Madden a couple times, but I think we did like NBA, because it was free a couple times. But
Mm.
we don't really
Mm-hmm.
play competitive gaming against each other, and I don't think
Not
in real
really.
life we've ever been competitive. It's like I said, we're not doing sports against each other. We're not doing this. We do, the
There's
time we
one
met
thing.
each other.
There's
What's
one
that?
thing.
What?
There's definitely one thing, and it's the number one thing for me is fucking like Texas Hold'em. Like if I had to guess, like it's like I know we
Oh
haven't
yeah,
played Texas Hold'em in a while, but I don't like playing against you. That's very aggravating. So it's like, yeah, Texas Hold'em. I mean, yeah, if we played with a bunch of people, I know we talked about it over game, but in real life, and I played with you, I played against you a few times. Texas Hold'em. It's like, no, it makes me angry.
you know what? I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because there was a time when we lived together that so we
A
invited a
brief,
few people
brief,
over.
brief time.
Yeah. Well, we were. It would have been a year, but I mean, you met your, as meeting your wife, not your wife at the time, but you know what I mean. You're starting to date. So I
Yeah.
got, you were more at her place than our place, which is fine. But yeah, we did. Texas Hold'em together. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, I guess the concept of that is because you want the money. I mean, not just you, me, you.
Mm-hmm.
We doubt, you want to win. So I guess
Yeah.
yeah, that is the most logical answer there in real life. I didn't even think about it because it has been so long that we played poker together. Mainly just I wouldn't say finances, just like hey, whatever. Um,
Yeah, just I mean, we used to play, at the Seacoast and things like that, but I had to obviously stop Texas Hold'em in any sort of real way because Texas Hold'em and me, it's like a very like antagonistic addiction. But because Texas Hold'em is one of those things where you can get good at Texas Hold'em and you can still lose to an inferior player, and to me, that does not compute. And by no means am I saying you're an inferior player, but like
no, I
I
agree
get
with
way
you.
too, I take it way too personal in Texas Hold'em. I don't, not anymore. Like if we played, what the hell's the game? Poker. What we have it. It's the free one. What
Prominence
is that
poker.
on the?
We've been
If we
yeah.
played that and we were playing with like Mel or Madness or any of our like friends online, I would have a great time. You know what I mean? Because it's like even if we were playing competitively for something on the line, I still feel like I would have a great time. But it's like I think the problem that I had with Texas Hold'em before was that I felt it was like I really took it on myself. It's like I would almost tell myself that I wasn't good enough if like I played something the wrong way or if I didn't win. It was like this weird psychological thing where I'd just be like, I fucking hate myself, like I'm the worst, like, and so that would then manifest itself into some sort of anger response, which would make me not enjoy it. And so, that back in the day when I would go to Foxwoods or anything like that, and I would win money, um, it's a game where it's like I would remember losing more than I remembered winning. Like when I would win, I would feel relief, and then when I would lose, I would feel uncontrollable rage, anger, and then I'd be on tilt for like a few hands and all that stuff. But yeah, as far as what we've been competitive about in the past, for me, it's that's what that is.
Yeah, I guess I would have to agree. And I kind of like you. I actually remember, and so like other things in life, you rage. I hate to say rage, but when you lose a hand, you think, what could you done? You more blame yourself in the situation. And you're right.
Oh,
Someone could
it's
be
worst.
fishing for a flush, blah blah blah, and that's about it. Um, yeah, I remember, playing not on the Seacoast, but also when they had a place in Nashua, and I forget his name, but he
Oh
used to pay for
yeah.
my entry fee all the time, and the two of us,
Hmm.
because he would always play reckless. Because I don't know how you are. I know there's cash game players, and then there's tournament players. I
Mm-hmm.
consider myself, or not now, well, probably still now if I were to get into it, a tournament player. Like, I hated cash games. I like the tournament player because I like the fact that there's a little bit more psychological because if I take your money, you're out. It's an
Yeah.
all out, whereas cash, like, let me buy in for another $20. So I'm
Yeah.
like, to me, like, if you got the bankroll, you can do cash. To me, tournament style, I love more because that was more of a psychological. And I get you, when you hit a hand, you lose a hand, you're on it for a few, and I've, folded. I remember twice, a couple times. Like I remember when I was running the table, it was just a group of six, and I just knew. Like sometimes once it got started, you just knew you had everyone's number. It was like rounders. I just sat down and I was watching, and I remember winning quickly. I remember
Mm-hmm.
in a tournament I got a straight flush, and I had the straightest face, and the guy next to me was like, "Dude, do you know you got a straight flush?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like I know the hands, motherfucker. I'm like, this is called a poker face. And I remember it was a king high straight flush. It's the highest hand I've ever got. Obviously, it's
That's amazing.
but like when it came up, and it was just I was stone cold because that's how I was trained to be in my life. Just like yep. And the guy was just shocked. Like, do you know you got it? I'm like, I know what's in my hand. I know what I got. I don't need to get overly
Yeah.
excited. And it was hilarious. And
Yeah.
like I said, if we, I know we talk about going to Vegas. I don't know if I'd
Yeah.
play poker out there. It depends on how things go. But yeah, I would say I can see that. But that's mainly because, like you said, when you lose and it doesn't matter who's across. You beat yourself up for it more. But you're trying to win money. So no matter what, everyone at your table, in a weird way, is your enemy. For lack of better
Yeah.
purposes. So yeah, you know what? I did not think about poker, but you know what? That is a good answer. So yeah, I lead to go back around. Video game wise, I guess you know what I mean. We always want to win, but it is what it is. I guess golf, it's more of a personal thing. But in real life, and God, how it's been like 10 years, I think, since we've played poker. Because I don't think we played.
Oh, fucking Fall Guys. That's another one that I fucking hated. That like we got competitive about, and it's like every time you got a crown, it made me angry.
Well, that's different.
Isn't that
Well, I,
competitive?
I I guess yeah, that is competitiveness, but it's also just I think you were pissed because you couldn't get a crown too.
Yeah, fucking hate
I
that
always consider
game.
competitive a two-way battle. And like to me it's like whatever, but
Fucking
I get it.
goddamn Fall Guys.
But
Fucking
yeah,
hell.
when we play golf, like I said, we want to each, obviously kind of beat the other, but it's not like, yeah, in your fucking face, dude, I got you, because you're not, in golf, you're making your own shots. It's not like any other sports game where you have a chance to stop the other player. Sometimes you just watch the show like, this is happening, whatever. But yeah,
Yeah,
in
no,
real life,
I felt pain in the last game we played. That was for sure.
well,
After
that's
I
just because I
fucking
hit a shit ton
Eagles.
of eagles, and I don't know if I can
Fucking
ever do that again. That was just like,
yeah.
par five over the water. No, I'm driving this shit. Going up the
Oh.
sidewalk. Yep, just fuck it. So,
Worst game
Matt,
ever.
I don't know, Madness. I don't think we've ever played pool against each other. I haven't really
No.
played billiards much in a long time. Obviously, in my early drinking days, we used to just play for fun. I think a couple times, obviously, we with friends and stuff like that, we play. Obviously play against each other. But I had a friend.
When we went to bars, we never played pool against it. You and I went to bars, it was always to get as absolutely fucked up as possible while eating a poo poo platter. And I never ate the chicken wings. You ate them,
Because you hate, yeah,
because
you don't like
because
eating
I didn't
things
like
off
the
the bone.
bones.
Yeah,
Right. So, which I'm fine with now. I think that when it's dry as fuck at the goddamn Chinese restaurant, at the Jade specifically, I was like not about it. But that was our competition, was like, let's get fucking drunk as quickly as possible. So we never made it to the pool table, Madness.
yeah, no, and it was, yeah,
That would
that's pretty
stop
much
our
it. We just
drinking
sat
if we did
down, we
that.
just chit chat, and just like, football game was on, we'd watch the football game, or just,
Yeah.
after work,
Yep.
just like, hey, let's have some drinks, and like, oh, what's this? A
Hmm.
Scorpion Bowl? Great. Oh, what's this blue drink? Oh, Viagra. All right, whatever. You meant to give it to that guy. It's ours now. Fuck it, we're drinking it.
Yeah. Apocalyptic. What, the apocalypse shots? Oh my
Oh
god. It was like,
God.
oh, we made the apocalypse shots for you guys, and we're like, sure, why not? We've had like all this whiskey and everything like that. We had some dark times in the past where it was just like that was like all we did was just get absolutely just torched off
Yep.
alcohol. We just did not care. Now it's
Unfortunately,
neat.
but yeah, no, we never, it never been competitive about, who could drink, whatever more or anything like that either. So, but yeah, that was basically our lives in our 30s, pretty much. Just like, yep,
Hmm.
this is what's happening. So,
Oh my god. Wow.
I know, Any other trips down memory lane you want to go through right now? Anything else you
Oh
remember?
God, we could write a whole book about it for sure. But we'll stop there for now. But Madness, stay tuned. You never know. Maybe we'll play pool against each other at some point. Who knows? But one thing that we will be doing in a future, obviously, episode, and what we've talked about going up north to Fun Spot, is getting ourselves into some Golden Tee, which, although that is technically a video game, it's kind of like a real life and a video game mixed together. It's got a weird ass controller, but I'm sure we'll have some stories that come from that when we play.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Fun Spot's upstate or mid-state, I guess, New Hampshire, where and
Hmm.
that within an hour. But it's basically considered the largest arcade in the United States. Now, I say that, and I don't mean that size-wise. I mean that machine-wise. They have all the classic quarter games, like 25-cent
Hmm.
games, from like all the different styles of Pac-Man, Centipede, Burger Time. So yes, eventually once we go up there, it'll be a 3 or 4 episode thing because from
Yeah.
arcade experiences, what games have aged well, what games have we remember fondly have sucked. But yeah, and they even have I mean, they say a museum, but it's really just in a glass case. But it's nice to see the history of video games too, just some of the old systems and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's only about an hour from us, and it's so no man, it's Golden Tee. Now that's not a sex position. I don't care what you've been told. But yes, we do
Golden
that.
tea. I love how you spelled tea. I forgot the whole UK thing. Yeah. Tea.
But
Golden tea.
but yeah, Fun Spot would definitely. It will definitely, like I said,
Yeah.
it'll be coming up. We'll probably hopefully go in the spring, and then
Hmm.
it'll take a few videos because we have a
Yeah.
lot to talk about. Hey, we're digressing. So that was kind of our Q&A. Unless anyone else has any more questions, the next
Hmm.
podcast we'll do is the one we introduced last podcast. Bad movies or cheesy movies that we love. And we've
Yeah.
already got a list of that. Just obviously we both, working at Blockbuster, have seen a lot of great movies and a lot more crap movies. And some of them have just been fun.
Holy shit.
When you get free rentals, 10 free rentals a week, you just, because you're like, oh, all the way so it was 90 minutes on this, whatever. Sit, drinking, eating, like, whatever. But yeah, that will be our next podcast. So, a lot of the movies that we love to hate or hate to love, whatever it might be. So,
Yeah. I can't wait. That's gonna be quite a conversation.
so yeah, to all those who are still with us, thank you. But
Thank
yeah,
you so
this has been a
much.
Q&A. We've both have been ecstatic about obviously becoming an affiliate. We both have agreed that we both need to stream a little bit more. I think
Hmm.
real life has gone both of our ways a little bit, but sometimes it's just just do it. Whether it's like I said, if I'm just playing Rocket League and just mindless, I think we try and plan too much. So I think we need to just get those random streams. As far
Yeah.
as current goal, it's not like we have any more goals. We're just going to try and just keep creating content. I mean, everyone else is like get 100 subs on YouTube mainly because you get to make your URL, but whatever, whoever just enjoys the ride. We're at that point now.
Yeah.
We hit affiliate. We're happy. It's we're.
Hmm.
I have to. We have an emote for those who didn't see it. The golf one. Just fuck it. But I'm making a couple more, which I will make. I promise. A nice beer one, and then snake hands for you, Soto. We've talked about it, but I got to get online and get working. So we are working on anything. But if there's ever any content, anything you guys ever want us to talk about, let us know on Twitter, on one of our podcasts, because as you've learned, we're pretty much open book. We don't care what we talk about.
Yeah,
So,
and we're ready to create. And again, this has been a fun ride. I've met some really great people, and can't wait to continue to play with you guys. Can't wait to show you guys the bullshit and continue to let you guys into our world of nonsense. And really appreciate that you guys have been along for the ride, and looking forward to the next year.
yep, and we do have a lot of nonsense. So, that's been basically our lives.
Oh
So that's what
God,
happens with
yeah.
40-year-old men, just bitch about, kids these days. They don't know the pains
Hello,
of,
fellow kids. Yeah, exactly.
Nintendo
But
and,
yeah.
no, you had to beat a game in one sitting, blah, blah, blah.
I'm a
Yeah,
crotchety, that's From Software player. That's me now. I'm like, don't call me old. I play From Software, fucker.
Yeah, I see. I just saw you use that. Just fuck it emote. I got to talk to Marty. He said there's a way to take away that background. So I'm going to try and work it so it's, not
Oh,
like a
cool.
white square. But anyhow, I digress. I was just kind of looking. Mattis, thank you. Anyone else that is just listening, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
We got an extra sub today. That's greatly appreciated.
Awesome.
This will be uploaded on YouTube soon. So thank you all. Have yourselves a good day, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye, all. Thank you.